Start with the karakia. Want to do the karakia? Oh, tēnā. E te atu e tūwhereananga ngā kau katoa kia koe kore hoki i ngaui a koe te me huna. Whakahangi i o te wairua tapu hei whakamāinga whakao o mātou ngā kau. E tino aroha ai mātou kia koe, ke tika mai whakanui i tō ingoa tapu, o i kuraiti hoki tō mātou ari. Thank you, Sonny. I'll call for apologies, and I see we have Councillor Williams as a potential apology, and since she hasn't shown up, I think we'll accept that there is one. So I'll move that apology be received. Will there be a seconder? That was from Rick. Okay, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Confirmation of the agenda. Now, I think in confirming the agenda, there would be the opportunity for a member, perhaps Councillor Taharoa, to express her misgivings about the lack of content in this agenda. And yeah.
Yes, so yeah, thoroughly disappointed by the agenda. We don't have a lead officer here, although I note that Hayley is stepping in but taking no responsibility for two very important items that I would have thought would be on the agenda today. One, the gold clam, the national response, and why Taharoa isn't on the list for that. Somebody's dropped the ball. And secondly, the expression of interest process that we as a committee agreed to, sent out, on my understanding, received those. They were ranked by staff. Accordingly, that was sent through to our councillors, and the councillors were briefed on that. I would have thought that this being the committee that has the authority and had commenced that process should have also been briefed on that, and that item is missing. I really hope that it's not because Mangawhai councillors weren't able to attend this meeting today that that has been omitted from the agenda and other various items.
The main item. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So I will request the staff to record that concern in the minutes, please, under the heading of confirmation of agenda. Any other comments on the agenda as it is? Okay, well, I'll move. There's not even any area for general discussion within the agenda. Yeah, well, generally there isn't, but if you would like to have a discussion after the meeting is closed, we can do it. It should be item regarding general discussion and being able to make motions from those and recommendations from those. That would be contrary to the council standing orders, I would think. Well, I don't think so, because you're supposed to have an input into the agenda as well. Yep. Okay. You can. And really, there's never really been. It's been presented to us on a month by month basis, a year by year basis. And then, of course, the standing rules apply. These things in here shouldn't even be in here, according to the standing rules. The process, if you want something to go on the agenda, then you need to raise it in advance of the meeting. Okay. And then that gives a chance for, if there's any background work needing to be done and providing us with information so we can make an informed decision, that can be done by staff in order to get that circulated before the meeting, so then we're in a position to have an informed discussion. And that's why I'm asking for provision in the agendas, in the minutes, that we can actually discuss this for the ability to be able to add items.
Yeah, we can add a notice of motion. Is it 24 or 48 hours prior to the meeting on whatever decision?
Normally 5 working days, I think.
So
5 working days.
Oh, sorry, 5 working days.
So there is a machinery there, but it has to be a bit more than just, oh, I've had an idea
now, I'd like to discuss. I mean, that's where, but we can have a discussion at the conclusion of the meeting. And if there's any decision to be made, though, it needs to enter at the start of the process. And yes, a notice of motion is one option, or simply contacting the staff manager responsible, whom we just finding out who that is, to engage with them and see about getting that on the agenda if it's a burning issue that no one else was aware of. Okay.
Well, my mind is that there's no, this is really just put it off to the operational. You know,
This agenda especially.
we're not an operational committee.
And I will also say that because of the terms of reference of this committee, it is only an advisory body, which, in my opinion, makes it pretty ineffectual. But I'm just saying, that's the rules that we're under. And that's the, as laid down by the mayor.
Yeah. Better we go to the Crown and get KDC removed as delegated authority, you know, as Te Kohi and Te Roroa. And just bypass this whole fast that is this committee that sits here with, is a waste of time.
Well, I think under the previous standing orders, it did have some decision-making powers, but that hasn't been continued on under this jurisdiction. So I think we shouldn't prolong the inconvenience more than we have to. You're forming a thought there, Rick.
Yes, I'm waiting to have a say.
Let's go.
I would like you to give us a bit more time to cover the expressions of interest. This has been going on for quite a while now. And let us talk about why we've got nothing on paper. Why, and it should be.
Okay. I think that should already be covered in a note made by the staff on that issues raised by Peter.
Unless Hayley wants to bring up our briefing package that we received and brief the committee based on that.
Will it be helpful to?
They weren't in the meeting, so they've driven all the way out here. Uncle Rick's driven 3 hours to this meeting this morning.
Be nice.
Another 3 hours home for this
Okay, was it the briefing that started this month?
2 weeks ago on the Sportsville one.
Was that an open meeting?
It was in PEX actually. It was publicly excluded, that item.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh.
and it was Glynis's report that I was a ring-in for. So I will need to. I'm not sure that we can share that in open. I'm pretty sure it did go into PEX, right?
Okay.
Well, is that something, do you think would be fair if we were to get through the agenda of the meeting, close the meeting and then have an informal discussion?
Yeah, if we do that way, I think that that's fair. But I also wondered because one of the applicants was Te Roroa,
6th of November.
and we're directly comparing Te Roroa with external applicants, whether or not that's.
Well, it has to be because they're committee members, so it has to be.
I mean, my preference would be that because I haven't been given a briefing from Jason or from anyone else on what the expectations are for this process. So I
should do it that when we first originally put the EOI out instead of after that.
Yeah, look, I fully understand the impacts of having a restructure at the beginning of a financial year and having teams fully switch around and pieces of work being handed to other people has created a sort of
General manager not available for.
It's not just general management, it's all the way down. It's to tier 5, our restructure. So there's whole groups of people. Like there's 2 people here to deliver the ops report that I can't see. You're here. So yeah, there is a whole lot of sort of lack of maybe oversight. But I genuinely think that if we do the REOI, it would have to be offline because it was definitely presented in PEX.
That's right, and we have to present it to the council meeting tomorrow in PEX. And the REOI spelled out very clearly that a decision wasn't going to be made until after the council meeting tomorrow. and that people would be notified of the decision by the, I think it's 27th of November, 29th, and the 29th of November. That went out of the original documentation.
Okay.
I'd have a concern about a conflict of interest for the people around the table in relation to that.
Not making any decision. That's
No,
If you just heard, it's being decided tomorrow.
Yep.
There is no conflict of interest.
It's being decided tomorrow on the text.
That's
Does that make a difference?
totally, it's the
It does.
decision made tomorrow.
But it's publicly excluded.
Information only.
Give members information at this stage.
Exactly, so that means that by the time the applicants know, they'll know before this committee even knows in March next year, when we have our next meeting.
I think the committee could be advised of the decision after the meeting tomorrow.
Doesn't matter, it's all neither here nor
I'm
there.
not comfortable with it being the subject of discussion, given it's an in-committee item.
Mr. Chair, there's only three of us here,
I know.
and I think you should give us
We
the okay.
got online as well, yeah.
And Ash, well, he's part of the council anyway.
He's already said.
You two may as well just ask Te Taharoa and Te Kohi once they've been notified after tomorrow's decision. You'd know quicker than waiting for the council to know, to notify.
Through the chair, can I suggest
Yes,
we,
certainly go.
can we just get over with the meeting in 5 minutes and then close the meeting as you suggested and leave this to be decided tomorrow, whichever way it comes?
Yeah, because I don't want to get into technical conflicts of interest when we're just winding ourselves up and things that are unnecessary when they can get the information directly from the source after they're notified.
Okay, so that's what we'll do, is just, can we park that for now? And we've had the confirmation of the agenda, and I need to read out a conflict of interest declaration.
Just need to move and second the.
Oh, I thought we had.
We have no,
Okay, well, I'll move the confirmation of the agenda as it stands. Will there be a seconder?
I can second
Thank
it.
you, Peter. Got second, Peter. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Okay, conflict of interest declaration. Committee members are reminded of the need to be vigilant to stand aside from decision-making when a conflict arises between their role as committee members and any private or other external interests they might have. So are there any conflicts to declare? That would be a bit difficult with the agenda as it is.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there was.
Yeah, okay, so
Mr.
conflict,
Chair, just before we move on.
Yep.
We have your guarantee that Te Kohi and Taharoa will be notified tomorrow on.
I can't guarantee tomorrow.
Outcome of the ROI. I will share with the committee the outcome of the ROI at the meeting tomorrow. Definitely.
Will you send to us?
I'll email you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Confirmation of committee minutes of the 9th of July, 2024. I have read them. River?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Sonny. Seconder,
I can second. Thank you.
seconded Ash. Any discussion? No? Okay. All those in favour?
Expressions of interest, sir.
Yep.
Sorry.
Thank you for that contribution. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Right. Done. So next we come to the big item of the day, the operations update. And I think given it's largely procedural, I'll just, to put it on the table, I will call for a mover of this report.
I'm happy to
Did it
move.
be received? Yeah, from Ash, seconded by,
Yes.
got Peter first. Yeah. Well, so, okay, we have it on the table. I'll ask the staff to step forward to present their report.
So it'll be Glynis instead of Mary.
Yep.
Good morning. I am standing in for Mary today. She's on bereavement leave. So I take it that the report has been read. And is there any questions that I could perhaps tease out a little bit more for you from the information that we've provided?
Do you know anything about what's happening with the latest on the gold clam and procedures in place around that over the summer?
Yeah, I do. Get me notes from Mary. With regards to golden clam, NRC will continue to do some checks. They'll be doing those from, let's just give you the exact dates. They will be doing checks between the 20th of December through to Waitangi Day. They've received some funding, so they'll have staff out here. This year, we won't have any of our domain staff doing that task alongside them. We'll be making sure that our domain staff are ensuring that people who are out here on the domain are able to go about their activities safely and, without causing harm to anybody else. And we'll be continuing their normal BAU duties. At the moment, our domain staff are completing spot checks, and we make sure an email is sent out to anybody that's coming out here to camp at the lake 7 days before their arrival. And we just explain the check, clean and dry processes. Yeah, and our staff are doing spot checks, as I said. With regards to golden clam testing, there was a test that was done on the 14th of November by NRC. They did an eDNA test. We haven't yet had the results back from those.
Mr. Kera?
When I was out there, there was some foam over at the main lake. There was all this foam sort of stuff in the water. What is that? And then there were also exposed pipes that have come up out of the water. So do you know anything about any of that?
No, I don't, but I will endeavour to find out about it.
Oh, okay.
What was it?
Wind and pollen.
Yeah, pollen doesn't usually cause foam, though.
Okay. There was another really important question that I had.
Can you tell me where the exposed pipes were? And I'll
just
that up.
directly in front of the first pathway as you're coming in. I think there's 3 pathways. It was the first pathway. There was just a big just exposed pipe, and then there was the water pipe that had come out from the sand. But I mean, it's probably been sorted now, but
How long ago was this?
a couple of, maybe 3 weeks ago.
I'll chase it up and find out. I haven't been told. So
I wondered if the foam was, yeah, that was the reason for the foam, but
It should be covered in the risks and the management plan, shouldn't it?
if it was something that hasn't been able to be remediated, yes. I've had a look at this, but I didn't see that as something that was on there. So I will go and follow it up.
oh yeah, and the other question I had was, has KDC received any other funding through any other external sources where you're employing staff? So
External funding for staff?
yeah, any sort of external funding whatsoever?
Not that I'm a,
It could be to do with the tire or the environment, whether it be water related, whether it be ambassadors.
No, through the chair, we've got tourism infrastructure funding, which we're applying to the toilet blocks and the ablution blocks. But we haven't received any other external funding. And what I would note is that we're quite limited now around central government external funding for anything that's not sort of infrastructure based. Yeah.
And then NRC, because they get external funding as well, and then they come into the grounds and do things. So
you know, that,
couldn't answer on their behalf, could you?
no, I can't. All I know is that they have had some funding to do the CCD. So the check.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I understand Te contracted to do that, which is fine. But that's the point that I'm making is if you're receiving funding from externally funded sources, that should absolutely be discussed with Te Roroa and Te Kohi to understand whether we have locals who have local knowledge and actually care about the environment and care to be doing that work, as opposed to what I seen last summer, which was just NRC staff coming in and NRC is paying themselves further external funding to put their staff here when we have locals
Who wanted to do it?
want to do it for free too, might I add, because I'll probably be out there this summer helping with it for free because that's how much I care about ensuring that gold plan doesn't make its way into here.
Okay, thank
A
you.
couple of things I wanted to raise.
Ash has had his hand up for a wee while.
Sorry.
But Ash,
Ash, you have a question?
Thanks for that. I had a few questions. Operationally, we have been here like 2 years, and I'm surprised what is stopping Pine Beach to be compliant on small issues like the hand basin with hot water is not there in peak summertime. I mean, it's the gem of Kaipara, and we're looking to have economic development and whatnot. So I'm really concerned about those small things cropping up, that you got exemptions, but you can't do those things. So that's the first point, and you can hopefully take care of that issue.
So what was the question?
The
Clarify
question is
please.
why the hand basin with hot waters cannot be provided when you have summer season, portaloos and whatnot. So we are non-compliant on these small issues. That's the first question. Yeah. Can I read all the questions, or we go one by one? Because I want to save time and finish them.
Just one at a time, please.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So you've got a right for another question. So Glynis, can you answer that at all?
first question.
I think I can. My understanding is that we are doing a great deal of maintenance at the moment in and around the domain, and particularly with our facilities. We also have funding in the long-term plan to do upgrading of the ablution blocks at Pine Beach. And for the day visitor ablution block down at Pine Beach, but that does require an upgrade to the wastewater system. And so unfortunately, some of these things need to go in a particular order in order to get to the end result. So there is money available. I know that project has started its kickoff, and so we should be looking to see that those upgrades take place over the next little while.
And perhaps the stuff that you can't see under the ground is maybe more important than the stuff above the ground.
Most definitely, yeah.
What we're trying to look after. Okay, next question, Ash.
Yeah. So obviously this answer is slightly unacceptable because there is R00148. These things are listed under LTP. We all know it is an LTP, but it's the non-delivery of LTP for whatever reasons. So I'll carry on to the next question. So do the gates close as they used to do or not?
My understanding is that yes, they do. They're automated gates. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And there's no security because we are providing security lighting. You said next quarter.
So through the chair, the gates close at 9 p.m. And we provide security over the summer period, the peak period. So we seek Taharoa ambassadors to support us with that, and also last year, I think is it the Well Cafe?
That's right.
Yeah, Anissa and Ruben that provided additional security. So yeah, that's a seasonal approach.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, obviously, and everyone is aware, including the councillors, that people do apply for approvals, and at the last minute they are. And we were told that you are devising a system. It doesn't happen anymore. That people apply 3 months before and the consent is given at the last minute, we're causing chagrin to both the organizers as well as the councillors. So what are we doing about it? What's the system you're developing now?
I think that I understand. Are you talking about events here within the Taharoa
Yes, I'm
domain?
talking about the approval for events which are applied in much advance but are put up for approval to us at the last minute, which is no good sign.
Maybe I could answer that on behalf of the events. So we do take a very multi-pronged approach. So we do try and ensure that any event that's going to be that's held out here is reviewed from a health and safety point of view. It is reviewed from an environmental point of view. It's reviewed from the point of view of making sure that it's not going to adversely impact any visitors or campers that are out here. And so sometimes the event organisers come to us late. So even though we've gone out to people that we know of that have had events in
Sure,
the past.
no, that's only
Hang on, let it, please.
you say.
And sometimes they don't provide all of the information. So there is one in here at the moment from the Dargaville Primary School. I've gone back to them and asked them for some more details. I haven't yet heard back from them. I've gone back to them twice. So sometimes there is a delay.
That one's one that happens every year, and it should be,
Yeah.
so long as it doesn't deviate from the last year's or the year before that, it should be an automatic approval because we've already approved it. And it's interesting that you say that events that to make sure that they don't interfere with the campus. Because why is that? Because the Kaiwi, because the council doesn't own the water, it doesn't have any control over the water. So why would the council charging money for campers on the land get to take a preference over ones in the water, particularly if those ones in the water are our locals, our wakaama, our schools or whatever? Who decided on that? That would be.
I don't think that there is a preferential treatment. It's just making sure that if there was, say, there was a proposal put in by a commercial entity called Waterworld that would like to set up a system here at the lakes. There's a lot of health and safety that needs to be considered with regards to that type of setup, as well as working with the harbour master to make sure that what constraints that they might have. So some of the proposals, depending on what they are, I agree with you. If they were the free diving that have done this before, that did come through to you very late. They've done that activity before. There haven't been any issues. I agree with you where organisations have come out, particularly where they're local, and they've demonstrated that there's been no issue and people have been able to enjoy the lakes. There shouldn't be any hold up at our end. And as far as I know, there is no hold up at our end. And nor do we put preferential treatment for any one party at the lakes. We do look at the activity the event that somebody has put forward and just ask really common sense questions about how you're going to manage the environment that you're doing the event in.
Actually, just in clarification, like my understanding is, I'd just like to make sure that I've got this right, that while the council may not own the water, it is responsible for activities which take place on the surface of the water, isn't it?
My understanding, and certainly we work really closely with the harbour master. So we don't make decisions. We do look for guidance from that agency to make decisions about what's happening on the water.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair,
any other questions, Ash?
Well, my question was taken over by including the chair and Pera Penera, so I don't know whether it's properly answered anyway. I asked, what are we doing to this repeat occurrence of these events which are happening on a regular basis? So what I'm proposing to the operational committee, including Glennis, is that all those events which are they're receiving requests for, when we are having a meeting, you can say they were received on this date and where they are, because we don't want to end up with 6 requests every year.
Actually,
on the last
Ash,
minute.
could you just turn that around a little bit and make that an ask that it happens, then it's a question, rather as opposed to making a suggestion.
Yeah, well, you can put could be
Yeah, thank you.
in front of my question. Thank you.
Will do.
Any other questions? You had one, Rick.
Yes, firstly, Ash, I'd like to thank you very much for the questions you asked there. Some of those questions we've been asking here for quite a while. The first one I'd like to ask is the cleaning of the boats. Is there anything set up permanently in that time?
Yeah, my understanding is no, that our team at the moment are doing spot checks, and that from, I think it was the 20th of December, you'll have NRC staff out here on the lakes doing those checks of boats to make sure that they're clean and they're dry when they go in. So they're being.
It's covered in the.
That's right.
I see. Okay. The next question I was going to ask, in the next quarter activities, have you started on the bollards yet?
Yes, we have. If you go down, we've certainly done some down at Pine Beach, and we are, that work is still in progress. We've put up a lot of new signage around the lakes that includes things like no vehicles on the beaches, no dogs, no authorised entries onto the beach area, no fires as well, and no camping outside of the campgrounds.
Okay.
So those are the new ones? Yeah.
Next question. So far as dogs, what's been the result last year and what's sort of planned for this year?
Never.
No dogs.
Yeah, no, there's no dogs, that's right. So there's new signage that goes up, and again, that's part of the role of our domain rangers, is that they are patrolling the area, and if they see anybody that's violating that, then they ask them to move on, and if there was a serious breach, my understanding is that they would ask our animal management officers to come out. And
It takes time, of course. What happens if somebody wants to, there's always going to be a problem, one.
It's always going to be a problem.
Well, there have been a couple of incidents that have been, I suppose, dealt with. Probably need to.
So through the chair, if we take a photo of the registration plate of the dog owner and we provide that to our AMO team as well, they will retrospectively infringe. So the domain officers and the animal management officers can work together and share information that way and have a infringement notice posted out to them with a photo and the date and time that they were there.
Okay. Are the problem ones recorded and do we hear about them or there's nothing there?
All the animal management reporting sits with that team, so it won't come here. But if you would like to know the number of dogs that were identified out going forward, we can.
most do.
That's really interesting in that.
Year after years with these those will push the. They know the rules, but they still bring them.
Okay, any other questions? I think we've given a pretty good, so Rick, Ash, you got your hand up again.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, I just thought of one question. First of all, I mean, good to see that October is good bookings. My question is more related to how much of these bookings which happen in summer are at what percentage is advance booking, because that can help you forward planning to all those facilities required. So for example, there are 1,000 came in October. What percentage was booked well in advance, like months in advance?
My understanding is that as soon as the bookings are open to the general public, that the bookings fill up very, very quickly, that there's very few spots available as you move through the season.
Through the chair, the bookings opened on the 6th of July and we were almost completely booked out to the end of December by the end of August. So within a month, we sell out.
Why are we not increasing it by 25%?
The cost?
Mm-hmm.
I think that we agreed last time when we reviewed the fees that we would do it for another 3 years. So I think that is coming up. And then we were going to look at local kaipara rates. Yeah, there was going to be something done there. So I'll have a look at that as
There
well.
was something to come back to us.
Yeah, I remember that.
Seems a long time, 3 years,
Yeah.
when people are
I know.
This was
bringing the game.
This was still, when we bought that last pricing, that was still, Jason Smith was still chairing the committee. So yeah, I'll have a look at that.
So I have a question through the chair. Protocols for getting people that want to use the lake and they want to set up whatever they want to set up, and generally new ones like the water world, they want to set up a water world. You know, at what stage do you say no?
We say no, certainly, if we see that there is going to be an issue sort of downstream with them. So if there is an obvious health and safety issue, if we see that there could be an obvious environmental issue, if we think that it sort of sits within kind of common sense boundaries, then my understanding is presented to you at this committee and that you make that decision.
There's an opportunity for staff to say no on a health and safety basis. There's an opportunity for the harbour master to say no on a water basis, and then there's opportunity for this committee to say no on a.
Well, the reason I say that is that, you know, like, yep, boats currently don't need a permit as long as they keep within the thing, but is there a size limit on the boats? You know, you know, what's just someone bringing their launch in here that can carry 30, 40 people on it, and they go out in the middle of the lake and can do.
I'm not sure. I'll have to check with NRC and the harbour master around the size of boats for the bylaw there.
This was talked about a year ago when Jason was still here. Jason was the thing, and apparently nothing's been put back to the harbour master in regard to what is their limit on site for the boats and everything. The bigger the boat you get, you know, the more damage it can do.
Okay, well, that's a question that's been put, so staff will make it. No.
So I'm not just talking about boats, I'm talking about other things, size-wise, you know. And if the size-wise is huge, like Waterworld comes in, wants to set up here, that's really, to me, that would be just a straight out no.
So what we have been trying to do is to provide you with really clear information. So we developed an evaluation form so that we could capture all the information really on one or two pages, so that you in this committee would be able to look at it and then make your final assessment. If there is an obvious breach, if we know that they are absolutely going to breach something, so whether it be health and safety or the environment because of the practice that they're doing, then staff would make that recommendation straight back to the event organisers. But as I said, what we've been trying to do is do an evaluation so that then you can make a good informed decision and you can see if there's any gaps. So we try and make sure that we go back to the event organisers and make sure that they give us that information.
So when's that coming to the committee for approval?
So at the moment, as you can see in that report, there's several events that have been put forward and we're just waiting on some information. So as soon as that information has come forward from them, we'll get that through to you.
That would be brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
I agree, Glenys. Thank you.
Well, I think we've given this operations report a pretty good thrashing. So I'll now call upon the mover, whoever that was, if they want to make a statement. Councillor Nayar.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you, everyone. We gave a good thrashing because obviously all of us are committed to this is, as I said, gem of Kaipara, to make it a gem, really gem in terms of performance as well. So that's one reason we are all passionate and we want to improve the facilities for the campers. And it's not something a dead duck, is something which brings a lot of money to. This is probably the only venture of KDC which brings money. So I think we should all work together to do it much better. So that's my statement. Thank you for that. Thank you, staff.
My statement is that as you know, I've already said that I'm quite disappointed, but for this to be council's only profit-making asset, it seems to be the least funded, the least focused on, and the least given the least regard to, and I don't understand the rationale for it. I really don't. There's little. We don't even have a lead officer, so we've given this report a thrashing because the information is so lacking that we had to come here today to even find out, you know, what is going on out there on the lakes, and I'm sure that there's a lot more. We haven't even touched on the lack of vegetation, which was it's been a huge issue, and where's the update on that? There's so many other things, and I probably need to put my thoughts into writing and send it through because there's a lot more. And I just continue just to feel almost sickened by the way that our taonga out here is being treated by this council. It's raping, it's exploiting, profiting off of our taonga, and I cannot stress enough, my tupuna gave this for everybody, and it seems to be KDC that is the only one profiting from this taonga. And I've said many, many times over, I do not agree with the additional toilets, and I will continue not to agree with them. We have plenty of toilets here. We need to go back to the way that it was. You know, I hear about hot water. You're coming out to camp. This is not a luxury place. You come out and you wash your hands with cold water, and that's part and parcel of it. We need to be sending it back to the way that we used to work with it and not against it, taking more water in the drier seasons when it needs its water the most. We're taking the most of the water out of it. And if I had my way, I would put a stop to those new toilets going in there. But yeah, that's enough from me.
You're getting a little bit off noting the report.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Thank you.
in a response to,
Okay, so just mover and seconder, other statements you would?
population is the basis for all these improvements and whether they comply or not. So it's always around population.
Okay. Anyone else wish to make a statement?
Yes, sir.
Rick?
I would like to remind the committee that 250 acres of Lake Taharoa was the subject of a Waitangi Treaty claim,
Mm-hmm.
which was granted. And we are still waiting the return.
Still waiting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. I'll now put the motion. All those in favour, please say, the motion being that the Taharoa Domain Governance Committee notes the Taharoa Domain Operations Report for March 2024. March 2024?
November.
November. Thank you. We'll make that November 2024. All those in favour, please say aye. Carried. Okay, so that's all that's on our agenda.
Karakia?
Call for, who's going to do the closing karakia?
Do the karaki mutunga.
Thank you, Glass.
Yeah.
You open.
Are we winding up?
Yes, please.
Aroha mai, I can hear my turi whistling. Turi which is mataringa, my ears hear me. Tūtahi ngā mihi atu, kia koutou mai, kua tai mai nei tēnei rā, mō tēnei huihuinga a te Taharoa Domain Committee, Governance Committee. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te ata pai o tō tātou arikia I Traiti. Me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga ki te wairua tapu. Ake, amen.
Thank you, Sonny. So I'll declare the meeting closed. So the karakia happened inside the meeting rather than after it.
So if we want to do the